All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Age of Sigmar narrative show. I'm your host, Luke, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Andrew. How are you, buddy?
Not too bad, man. Hey, everyone.
So this week, we're going to chat about where you can... That was my iPad going off. Great. Real professional here. So this week, we're going to be looking at how you can find and where you can find all the narrative content that Age of Sigmar has out, and sort of how you can use these to better your experiences in narrative gaming. But before we get on to that, we've got a bit of news to cover. I guess we'll start off with some Black Library stuff, which come out. We've got the a few releases coming out, probably one really big release. Start off with some of the smaller ones. We've got two short stories, one about the Celestial Vindicators, and another one about a Loon Boss, which are just the two little tiny short stories that they release every now and again that are downloadable via the whatever book reading app you use. That would be pretty cool. Most of them are pretty cool. And the first out of the two big book releases we've got is Myths and Revenants, which is a mixture of a bunch of all those little short stories that have released over the past year into one paperback book, well, hardback or paperback book.
Yeah.
And so I think it mentions, just going on the blurb, it doesn't tell you exactly what stories are in there yet. But like the one about the Scourge Privateer running from the Hallowed Knights Night Quester and the Gotrek short story and stuff like that are all in there, which is cool. But I guess the biggest Black Library release of this week that everyone should get and read, and I can't wait to read it myself, is Gloomspite.
Yeah, that looks very cool.
Yeah, our first real look in, I guess, a narrative sense and a Black Library sense at the Gloomspite Gits. So that's going to be a good one.
Intrigued as to how they're going to put any sort of serious story behind it, because they have kind of been, the jokes army. So it'd be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah. But so besides that, probably the biggest release, unless you've been living under a rock, would be the General's Handbook. We can say mixed, but by far mostly positive reviews and talk about it, I would say.
Yeah. The exception of maybe some of the terrain rules that have caused a bit of contention on various forums, etc.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll cover that in a little bit. We're not so much going to look at a lot of the match play stuff in the book.
Yeah.
I've done my own point review stuff on the channel of that, and various other people have done like reviews of different match play stuff, and we might talk a little bit about maybe how you can build some free city sort of stuff out of it.
Yeah.
Just to go along with the video I did last week on like what is in a free city, of which we will continue to grow on, not just what's in a free city, but how we can build a free city up. But yeah, so I guess we'll come back to the General's Handbook in a sec, and we'll go on to some hobby time. Mm-hmm. So Andrew, what have you been working on over the past fortnight? Well, almost a month now, actually, since we've seen you.
I have been putting together my Seeker for the Cinderfall narrative, which, if you haven't been paying attention, is the event being run by my fellow host over here in Adelaide. And the Seeker is a character that you can put together, customizing the rules, etc. if you want. Costs no points, and it's kind of the centerpiece of your army. So my Seeker is going to be a Blood Rat Medusa, a very big one, based on this lovely lady, who is the Raging Heroes version. And I've been converting up a Bloodrack Shrine being pulled by some Drake spawn, so it goes alongside my Order Serpentis. At the moment, lots of pieces because I'm trying to figure out what exactly I need to glue and what I'm going to have to paint separately, and I've got to sculpt some reins and things, but she's getting there.
Yeah, she'll make it.
Yeah, I've got about a week solid to paint stuff, so I should be right.
Yeah, if you know anything about Andrew or follow him on Twitter, you know his Order Serpentis army's already done anyway, so it's really just working on that one model.
And the shrine itself won't take too long. It's going to be predominantly brass with different types of metallic fittings because obviously I'm from the army's from Shimon, so everything's metallic.
Yeah. So hobby time for me. I've obviously been doing bits and pieces on terrain for the narrative event because I'm the one running it. And I've also been painting up some Wanderers because I did a Twitch post about what army should I paint up and get on some battle reports for the channel. And Wanderers were the clear favorite, and it would appear that Free Guild will be up after them by the Facebook post. So working on those, getting both up to like meeting engagement level, and we'll start getting some meeting engagement battle reports out on the channel, and then from there we'll move up to probably 1,500, 2,000 point and start getting some other size games and more narrative games on the channel happening.
Yeah, Wanderers seem to have picked up a fair bit of love lately.
Yeah, well, I posted like a list that I wrote up, and there were quite a few Australians hitting them up, and quite a few you wouldn't expect would go with that. Which is cool to see. Like, I've full confidence that Wanderers will get their day in the sun. I mean, we've got to remember that they were released in the last 6 months of Fantasy's existence.
Yeah.
So it's highly likely that they were thought of for Age of Sigmar. I mean, the Tree Lords and all the Tree Spirits already went over to a new army.
Yeah. And look, I mean, they're no slouch in the game either. The rules are very characterful and surprisingly effective for what is essentially a compendium army.
Yeah. The stats don't say too great, but stats.
Yeah.
We all know what I think of those.
I mean, yeah, the stats aren't flash, but still
I think if you can win 2 and 3 games at a tournament with an army, it's got to have something going for it.
Yeah, and the whole sort of fire and melting into the shadows and stuff is so flavorful.
Yeah. I remember when I first saw Melt Away come into a thing when Wanderers first got like their actual allegiance abilities and stuff. I was really happy with that. I'm like, that's so cool. The retreat and shoot rule.
And I mean, even that sort of walk the shadow paths and disappear off the board and jump back on somewhere else. Like it's like the old fluff. If you went into Athel Lauren, you never knew where you were going to get shot from.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll on that note of the Wanderers, I did say I'll be doing like little I guess short episodes on like different things of the Wanderers. So I'll do like little lore snippets. There's not a lot of them. It's probably not enough to do an entire show based on Wanderers. But I'll definitely be doing some little snippets here and there on them. But that's been my hobby. Now, before we get into anything else, I'd like to do a shout out to Terrain Home, which is a local Adelaide company who make wargaming terrain and do other various things for wargaming events. He recently helped out with Terracon, which is a gigantic 40k event for anyone who doesn't know. And so I got him to make the trophies supply, and he's done trophies, done combat gauges, and supplied terrain as prizes for the narrative event. So just to show, this is what one of the prizes looks like, one of the trophies.
Sweet.
Pretty cool. And little combat gauges for everyone too. So everyone will get some combat gauges because it seems to be the thing you pick up in an event now. I think that's the way to go.
Everybody wants more combat gauges.
Yeah. Ordered a few, so general numbers, everyone will probably get a couple.
Cool.
And I've also got some terrain from him, so you can check them out at terrainhome.com or check him out on Facebook and whatever. Really be worth your time. He's got some really nice pieces. I had people looking at the realm gates I posted the other week on Twitter. They're from him. So if you saw them, they're really good. And pretty cost effective too. And he also does stuff like movement trays and stuff like that as well, which is cool.
Pretty good too if you're looking at the new Apocalypse, because you can get those movement trays.
Yeah. I guess that's somewhat of AOS news. Movement trays, GW will actually be selling them. They're probably they're okay.
They're not cheap.
They won't be cheap, and they're not optimal for playing Age of Sigmar.
You could use them, but yeah, I think there are better products on the market that you could use, especially for those big horde armies. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be spending it on the GW ones.
Yeah. My personal suggestion is look up any local terrain makers you have. They'll probably do their own MDF or plastic movement trays for a lot cheaper. If you're in South Australia, that would be Terrain Home. Give him a look up. He'll help you out. I know there's plenty all around Australia, all around the world. Yeah. That do stuff like that.
Yeah, Laser Shark in Canberra can do pretty much any custom thing like that. So
yeah,
in that part of the world.
Yep. Yeah, it should be easy enough to find something. Just go look and ask your local like gaming groups and stuff, and I'm sure you'll find what you need. Because yeah, movement trays are great. So I think there's really not a lot of other news because and I guess we'll address the subject. We still are in limbo on the Sylvaneth book.
Yes, it's lost at sea somewhere.
The rumors, and believe me, I am no official news source on this. Rumors are it's all to do with that whole trade disagreement between China and America because GW puts a lot of all their books through China printing services.
That was the latest.
It makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I guess the other thing that happened this week would be we had the Warhammer Day where all the stores are officially rebranded as Warhammer now. And the only thing you could really pick up there was some objective markers. That was anything like AOS related. Everything was 40k, although you could pick up the Sister Superior for 40k and Sisters of Battle, which is cool and deserves a mention.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that new Stormcast Questor chick. Really like her.
Yeah, I've got a store birthday at the start of September, I think.
Yeah, there's one coming in Belconnen and Canberra too, not that far off. So
yeah, so yeah, there's a new Knight Questor. She's got a what are they called? Can't remember the name of the weapon now. She's carrying the spear that the protectors carry.
Yeah,
she's a monster hunting Questor. She looks cool. She's probably one of the better Stormcast characters they've released in a while.
Yeah.
Really nice posing. The face is really well done, which has been contention for hit or miss with people at the moment.
Yeah, there've been a few dodgy ones, but because my Stormcast Storm hosts are based around Native Americans, the position of her hair lends itself to some feathers, so she's going to look pretty schmick, I think.
Nice. So yeah, I think that's it for the news and hobby time and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So I guess we'll start off with the most recent General's Handbook. And so, well, first of all, we'll start off, where can you find all this narrative content? And I think the General's Handbook is probably your first stop.
Yeah.
It is something, like, while everyone talks about all the points and stuff for it, there is something for everyone in the General's Handbook, and no matter what way you play.
Indeed.
And so, yeah, narrative gaming. So I guess we'll go through 2019, which I picked up here. If you hadn't grabbed the Warlord Edition, or haven't grabbed one and you can still grab a Warlord Edition, they're pretty. The Warlord Edition's got some pretty cool stuff in it. It's got all your cards and stuff in there. Although there's one scenario with 8 objectives, and you only get 6 objective markers in the set.
Yeah.
But I guess the big thing for narrative play, I think, out of all of it, well, there's probably 2 big things. Would be the mercenaries,
Yeah.
and Cities of Death, or Streets of Death, whatever they called it.
Yeah.
They're probably 2 big narrative things. So we'll start with Streets of Death because I sort of have the least amount to talk about that. I think the mercs, we can go into quite a bit of detail on how you can really use them quite well. But do you had a look at the Streets of Death at all?
Yeah, I did. Kind of reminds me of Mordheim a little bit, with that sort of feel, I guess, where you can build your army up around a specific purpose. In terms of your narrative, here's my little force invading the cities, if you like, looking for insert treasure trove thing here. I just thought that's the first thing I thought was skirmish type stuff. Very cool.
Yeah.
And in terms of like a narrative event too, it's one of those things where you can divide up the games of the event, and one of them can be a Cities of Death type scenario quite easily in your story.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, we won't have any of that. The Sinful Narrative event has just come too late, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely be looking into that for something in the future. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. The Streets of Death. Age of Sigmar lends itself a lot better than Fantasy did. If you remember the city fight rules we got for in the end times were
that was a bit meh.
Age of Sigmar really lends itself well to the games in like tight packed streets and stuff.
Yeah, it looks more cinematic as well. The round bases sort of lend itself to it. I think that was part of the problem with Fantasy. It never really worked with the square bases. I know that's an aesthetic thing, but that's kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be good. I've got quite a few terrain pieces, city stuff, so I'll probably try it out. Probably try and put it on the channel, put some games up of it.
It'll be like, as I say, it's not the sort of thing that I think you're going to see at the big competitive events, but in terms of narrative stuff, I think it's great. Like the more styles of play, the better.
Yeah. Well, like the way I've organised my narrative event, where certain tables like every table's got a certain theme.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine, like a larger event, you can have like the top tables inside the city and fighting. If you've got like particular people trying to hold the city, you have the tables at the top are all these tables that are being fought inside the city, and these evil armies are trying to get into.
And even the in the sewers, the infiltration of the sewers or something to get into the town. That's very cool.
Yeah. So I think onto probably one of the most exciting things for narrative play is mercenaries.
Yeah.
These are the mercenary companies we wanted.
Indeed.
So we'll run through them so I don't forget any of them. Here we go. So I think there's a lot of option to make some cool conversions that theme around your particular army for these.
Yeah. Yeah, and it depends. I mean, like, if you've been reading or listening to any of the audio books too, there's all sorts of little hints at this sort of stuff. Even in the new Go Trek one, there's that wizard that they ally with who turns out to be a necromancer, and it works quite well with that, with the story, and you could do that with your own army with some of those companies.
Yeah. So I'll go through. We've obviously got the two that are from Forbidden Power. We've been over them. We won't go over them again. Which are the Flesh Eater Courts and Fire Slayers.
Yep.
But the first one is the one you just mentioned, which would be cool, is the Sons of the Lich Master, which is a necromancer, 0 to 3 units of zombies or skeletons, and 0 to 1 corpse cart with unholy lodestone.
Yeah. Now, the corpse cart you basically never see, because it's pretty naff for its points. But in terms of like a little mercenary force, the corpse cart, the necromancer, and some freshly risen dead people, I think that could be really cool just to add addition to an army. I was thinking about that today actually, because I really like the corpse cart model. So maybe watch this space.
Yeah, I will say I think they've balanced them really well for the competitive. There was and people were rightly worried about mercenaries going into match play.
Yeah,
I think they've done it really well because they take up like all your normal ally slots. You still have to have the 1 in 4.
Yeah.
And it actually eliminates some of them from being playable at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sons of the Lich Master is probably one of the few that actually could be played.
Yep.
You probably never take the corpse cart, but you can take a necromancer and a blob of something quite easily.
Well, dead walkers are very rarely played, and points wise, like zombies cost bugger all.
Yeah, quite easily take 60 bodies and a necromancer.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you've got a lot of cool like, why is a necromancer working with my force?
Yeah, what have they been willing to sell out in order to get this guy?
Yeah. So the second one is another death one, which is Order of the Blood Drenched Rose Mercenary Company. 0 to 1 Vampire Lord must be mounted on a steed, and 1 to 3 units of Blood Knights.
Yes, mercenary knight, vampire knights. More blood dragon type battalion.
Yeah, I like this one. It's cool. Like Blood Knights are cool models.
I like what they said. You can't have the zombie dragons.
Yes.
Because otherwise, that would be you see enough of them as it is.
Yeah, don't need a zombie dragon in every army.
No, it's the last thing we want to see.
But yeah, I think vampire, especially like you've got an army in Shaiish and you've got some free guild, and here all of a sudden are the vampire aristocracy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you could do that sort of the vampire lord and his human vassals.
Yeah.
Which is how they kind of used to market Sylvania, but you could never really do it in Warhammer.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of the fluff for the old world, they talked about the human horse-haired humans fighting alongside their vampire lords because they were their vassal troops. So you could actually do that. I mean, especially from, as you say, a Shaiish army, where the living and the dead fight alongside each other. So
yeah, or like even I think it's Blister Skin is the Flesh Eater Court from the Realm of Fire. It's really like actually okay. Yes, there's some really busted mechanics in that particular build. However, the narrative behind Blister Skin is really cool. I like the idea of like seeing death outside of the realm of death. There's a lot of stuff you can do.
Yeah.
How do these vampires work? Say, they're from my realm of life. How do vampires and all these death stuff work in the realm of life?
Yeah.
Or how do they fit into your realm of metal? How does 5 Blood Knights and a Vampire Lord fit into your army? There's like some secret underground cult or something.
You know, I'm trying to come up with a way to get that necromancer in, so I'll get him in somehow.
Yeah, I think like for me, I probably will build nearly every one of these to take in some way with some order army that I have for my free city, and I'll figure out some way. Some are easier than others.
Yeah.
I
mean, some of them are straightforward as the rules, like as the fluff says, mercenaries. So
yeah.
like fire slayers and your man eaters and stuff. Yeah, okay, we've paid them; they're fighting for us. But some of the others, I think, yeah, your narrative's going to have to really work.
You assume I guess these 2 death ones here that we've just gone over, they'll have their own motive as much as your army will have the motive.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next one, which is Grug Brothers Mercenary Company. This one is probably one of my favorites. I can't wait to run this. If I was going to Sydney GT, unfortunately I can't. I have, for some reason, people like putting tournaments around the time my kids are born. I got done at Sydney GT last year with the birth of my daughter, and now I'm getting done on like Sydney GT, Bendigo Bush Bash, and like there's another one as well. There's like 3 or 4 tournaments. I'd all like, oh yeah, I'd go to that. They're all around when my son's being born. Within like a week of it, it's crazy.
Yeah, you could try and come, but I wouldn't like your chances.
Yeah. I'd want a home, and I wouldn't want the keys, like the lock and the door, changed.
I want to remain married.
Yeah. So yeah, Grug Brothers Mercenary Company 1 to 3 Ale Guzzler Gargants.
Yeah.
This is cool. This was one of the 2 ones I was hoping would happen.
Here's my army of drunken giants.
Yeah. And like I said, if 2,500 points like Sydney GT is, I would take this all day, every day. Because you can fit it.
Yeah. And Gargants are not awesome. If everything works with them, yeah, they're cool. But for the sheer look on your opponent's face when you slap down 3 Gargants.
They don't get too bad in the actual Mercenary Company rules, because when they're all near each other, they reroll all hits. And if you get some spiky rolls on those 3d6,
yeah,
they'll be doing some damage, I think, providing they don't trip.
And that's it. That's when you really need them to charge. Over they go.
Go back and watch Doom and Darkness on Into the Realms, which was an event I ran last year, and go watch his stuff on his Gargant. The amount of times he says it fell over, and this is just a 4-game one-dayer. The amount of times that he says it fell over, it's hilarious. Its first 2 charge rolls, I'm pretty sure, of the tournament in the same game, it fell over.
Yeah. I had a Gargant in my mixed destruction army that I took to Border Wars, and he in the game against Danny Paints, the Gargant just went off and just nailed his free kill general. Like everything hit. I rolled the random number of attacks and rolled almost maximum. The headbutt landed right in the Griffin's head. It was just, the Gargan comes charging in, grabbed the Griffin, and just nutted him like it was. Yeah.
Speaking from a more competitive side, like they just suffer, unfortunately, like all those medium-sized monsters do, where they have 4s to hit.
Yeah. And then and the other thing too is because with the Gargants, they're a random number of attacks.
Yeah, and it's even worse when it's a random number of attacks.
Yeah. So if you roll really, that's what I mean. If you roll really well, they're really good for their points, but you have to roll really well.
Or at least consistent, and that is the hardest part. It's like you'll roll really well and you'll smash something turn 1, and the next one it can't kill a 5-wound hero.
Yeah. When you roll it to stuff it in the bag and you can't pick up a 2-wound model,
Yeah, but that'll be cool. I really want to see this one on the table. Like everyone, I think the Gargant kit is one of the best kits GW have ever made.
Yeah.
So much character in that kit. Like I could not recommend this enough for anyone. Go, like, even at 2K, go grab 2 giants and just run them just for a game. Like you enjoy painting them, you enjoy building them, and you enjoy running them. Could not recommend this one enough. Anyway, on to the next one, which I think this next one is really cool. It's a bunch of disgraced free guild, Nimiad's Rough Riders. So it is 0-1 free guild general, must be mounted on a warhorse and cannot have a stately war banner because he's all kicked out and stuff, so he can't have the banner. I like that a lot. 1 to 3 units of Pistoliers and 0-1 unit of Outriders.
Yeah, so this would be another way of doing your human vassals in your vampire army. So you take the vampires as your primary army, and then these guys.
They're sort of trying to get into the court somehow.
Yeah.
These guys have a cool thing. These guys actually aren't too bad rules-wise. I think these ones are one of the ones we'll see more of. Because a unit of Pistoliers and then a big unit of Outriders just popping up near your enemy. It's pretty good.
I mean, again, the hit rolls aren't awesome, but
yeah. I guess from a gameplay standpoint as well, you got to remember that setting up does not count as moving for those for your command ability and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one will be cool. I think that one will find its way into a lot of people. It's also like really easy. It's easy to fit humans into any army.
Yeah.
The next one is a human and dwarf one, which is the Black Smoke Battery. So the Ironwood Arsenal, you get 0-1 Cogsmith, or 1 to 3 cannons or organ guns, and 0-1 gyrocopter or gyro bomber.
That's pretty handy too, because the gyrocopter, I think it's got the rules called spotter or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he flies around pinpointing the positions for your cannons, which is very cool. I can't remember whether it gives you a +1 or a reroll to hit, but it gives you some.
You get +1 to hit if the gyrocopter or bomber is within 12 inches of the target you're shooting at with the cannons.
So yeah, in terms of sort of your mercenary sort of story, here's your little dude, his gyrocopter flying around, sort of dropping his flares, over here. And gyrocopters are not the hardest model to get rid of, but it's still very cool.
Well, it's forcing, like, in a game perspective, it's forcing your opponent to deal with something. Otherwise, you imagine putting those cannons next to like an ordinator as well, and then all of a sudden those cannons are hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s.
Yeah,
they're that's good. And but like the narrative you could do is like all these cannons and this dwarf selling his cannons out to people is. It's easy enough to think of that.
Yeah.
The next one, I think, really has a lot of conversion potential for a lot of different armies. I've got a few ideas for my own, which is the Rampages. which is a 0-1 Dark Oath Chieftain or Dark Oath War Queen, and 1 to 3 units of Marauders.
Mm.
And they get the Vanguard, like the pre-game D6 movement. These guys are going to be probably the one you see more than anything, I think.
Yeah.
They can nullify Alpha Strike armies.
Yeah, and it's target priority stuff, isn't it? I mean, they're just going to be in the way a lot of the time.
But however, and 40 Marauders is not as bad as you think they are.
Mm.
They're a pretty serious unit. However, the conversion opportunities for this are awesome.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing some barbarians from like Gur or Realm of Life, I've got some old War Dancer models that I'm going to use with these guys.
Cool.
Or some old Amazon models as well to use as these.
There you go, I'm back.
Yeah. But I think like there's a lot of like really cool conversion opportunity because you don't have to give them a mark, and I think you could just go, oh, these are just the barbarian tribes that hang around my city.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the ferals.
Yeah. Effectively, like you're reading like those first sort of books, like all the humans running around that are just savages.
Mm.
I think they've got some really cool. And then so the second to last one is Scrug's Menagerie, which is 1 Chaos Gargant and 0 to 3 units of Chaos Spawn, Warhounds, or Furies. Which is cool. It's like a Gargant. It's this Chaos Gargant and all his little like beastie minions.
All his cronies.
Yeah. Which could be cool because we know we're getting new Fury models from Warcry.
Yeah.
And they look cool. So this one could be quite cool.
And I think it's the sort of thing where I don't know whether you'll see this one as much.
It's probably one of the weakest ones.
Yeah. But again, it's that Gargant factor. You can't get the Gargant then in your army.
Yeah, and Gargant's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chaos Spawn can tie stuff up too.
I mean, and then you're looking at the Warhounds and the Furies, like they're pretty fast as well.
Yeah.
You're getting a couple of fast units in. But yeah, I don't see this one appearing very often, but it is a cool one nonetheless, and you can really go to town with some cool conversions for stuff here.
Yeah. And I think that the thing that'll, because you have to, you're basically losing that command point to take them. It's going to have to be worth it, which is why those other ones, yeah, I can see that, but even Rule of Cool, you're going to think twice about taking subpar units.
Yeah. But I think that in turn is a really good thing. A narrative army is not going to give a damn about losing the command point.
That's right.
But in competitive play, I think they've balanced it really well. I think that just that fact alone on like losing the command point is so huge, especially since in the new General's Handbook, I think it's worth touching on that you can only buy one.
Yeah.
And you buy it now.
Yeah. So it can't get the Triumph or whatever it's called now.
Yeah. I think they've really balanced mercenaries well.
Yeah, that was an issue that the people were concerned about. You can take the mercenaries, get the bonus, and then negate the penalty quite easily. But having it done this way means that you can't. You're stuck with that penalty.
Yeah, I mean, like even the one I said before that I think will appear a bit, the Marauders, you're effectively either paying 50 points on top to make them battle shock immune and stay in the fight, or they're not being battle shock immune.
Yeah.
And they're literally only there. You're paying points literally just to have a buffer.
Yeah.
But moving on to the last one, and I think the one everyone is happiest for is the Gut Stuffers. which is 1 fire belly. Hooray, he's usable in some way, and 1 to 3 units of man eaters.
Yep.
Yeah,
we were just talking before we came on. Man eaters are really good. The problem you've had till now is they're their own faction, so they suffer from that early age of Sigmar problem where they split these things into factions without a lot of forethought. So the only real way you could use man eaters up till now was in a mixed destruction army or as allies for someone else.
Yeah, I think Doom used to use them quite a bit, but even he admits it's literally only because he loves the models.
Yeah. And now with that, I think we're going to start to see a few more of them on the table.
Oh, I hope so. Like they're fantastic, absolutely fantastic models. Like even the Firebelly. The Firebelly ain't great, but it's such a cool model.
Yeah, I had him in my mixed destruction army at Border Wars. Like he's not very good, but he looks awesome.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get one as like an ally for my Beastful Raider army and just have like a Frost Belly.
Yeah, yeah.
And have that like a cloud of like icy breath coming out instead of the fire.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But yeah, I think mercenary companies are a hit. I think they've balanced them well in match play. I think like narrative play, they're going to be seen all the time. Probably another cool thing, like there's quite a bit in the new one. Something I made for my narrative event is people have to name their characters. And some, like it just happens. Some people can come up with really cool names on the fly. Some people need a little bit of inspiration. And something that I think we've talked about here and we've shouted out before is Realm of Plastic. And all his name generators. And Games Workshop has taken that idea and put it into the General's Handbook, which is cool. Like, just having a name for your general puts that much more story behind it. Especially when you're like looking at races where the names are like titles as well. So like Stormcast.
Yeah.
You look at like a character, say like Guard of Steel Soul. Like it's the last part of like his last name has got a lot to do with the character itself.
Yeah.
But what have they got in here? They got Stormcast, Slaves to Darkness, Core, all the Chaos, everything Chaos. Except fake, except the no longer fake dwarves because they're in the General's Handbook. Iron Jaws, Gloomspire, Ironef, Nighthaunt, and that's it. But so there's a few in here, and it's cool. There's a lot more that aren't touched in here on Realm of Plastic, so definitely go give that out a look as well. But I think that's just a really cool add to it.
Yeah.
They've just looking through. Yes, the last two things that they've added in the recent one are arcane objectives.
Yeah.
Which are cool. Like, what are the objectives we're actually fighting over? Because it's enough to say it's an objective, but what is the objective?
And it's another one that I think that is purely for the narrative stuff. Because I don't think it's going to matter in a competitive tournament.
I mean, you could probably use them in some sort of event. I don't think they'd break the game too much. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but
yeah, you're unlikely to see it.
The amount of angst that even things like terrain rules is yeah.
Yeah, and the last one they've added in is Regiment's Renown, which is really cool. It's another thing like the escalating weapons we saw in Forbidden Power.
Yeah.
Which is just as you play games, units get like a little bit of special rules, which is cool. I think it's just a more refreshed, updated one. They had one ages back in all the Realm Gate Wars books.
Yeah.
It appears to be literally the same table.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And obviously, again, very narrative.
Yeah. So continuing on to like that sort of talk, that's really all there. Oh, it's probably worth a shout out. It's like the open play stuff. For the game generator and the army generator, I think could be really cool for like getting a starting point for like a story setup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially if you're doing it on the fly. If you're setting up for a one-off sort of narrative type game.
Oh, you're not sure what you want to do. Well, here, roll up your forces, wire, and then you can build from there. You could use that generator, roll up some forces, then you roll up some names, and you're halfway there. Yeah. So yeah, next we're gonna talk a little bit about why you should keep and why you should. This question actually popped up on Facebook not too long ago. And you're quick to see all the people like tell someone like when they asked, "Oh, the 2018 General's Handbook, my local shop still got it, and they're selling at half price because it's discontinued tomorrow. Yeah, should I go get it?" And you had plenty of people going, "Nah, the points are going to get up there and stuff soon." And I'm just like, "Well, no. There's a lot more." I'm like, "Well, what sort of gaming do you enjoy? Do you enjoy competitive gaming?" And especially last year's, technically, it's still got uses in the way they wrote how you choose the scenarios now. How you now actually 2018 scenarios are still legitimate while 2019 ones are still in effect as well. But I was like, the narrative stuff has actually changed every year. You've not got the same narrative stuff just rewritten every year. You've actually got more.
Yeah.
Like last year was really focused on the mega battle side.
Yeah. And it does build upon itself. So from that perspective, yeah, it is worth your while getting hold of those older ones.
What else do we have? We have the underground and air battles as well. And so you are getting like, I would recommend anyone looking for like narrative content to try and get all the General's Handbooks you can, because they've all got content worth looking at if you're trying to create some sort of narrative experience in gaming. They've all got uses.
And I mean, it does depend on a lot on your focus. If you are only going to be going to competitive events, okay, maybe not. But if you are into storytelling, narrative, you want some more of that fluff, then yeah, but you really should grab as many of them as you can.
However, I would, on the point side, if you're buying the book just for points, you're losing money. You should just go download Azir and pay for that app every month, because it will work out a lot cheaper. $2 a month over 12 years. Over 12 months. You're only paying $24.
Yeah.
And that's Australian, so I hate to think how cheap it is over in somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're actually there's no reason to buy it for points. You can get other ways cheaper. Unless you're playing one of the armies that have an allegiance ability, which is worth looking into. Now, there's been a lot of talk, and it expanded rules was not the correct terminology that probably should have been used in talking about that. Now, I believe they were talking in expanded, but as in expanded from the rules that we have, or we, expanded off of the actual faction, but not expanded upon what we have already. Although 2 factions did receive something new, which was cool. Both the Seraphon and Ironjaws received spell laws.
Yeah.
And the Ironjaws one's got people with Ironjaws in quite a bit of happiness. I've seen quite a bit of good stuff online about people with Ironjaws.
Yeah, the Ironjaws needed a buff.
Yeah, I think However, I think the Seraphon spell lore is extremely well received. Well, should be well received. Hopefully, it's good because it always just baffled me like that Slan didn't have a spell lore. Especially like here in Australia. I know like America uses the realm spells quite a lot, but in Australia we don't really. I've never been to an event that used realm spells at all, except the core rulebook one.
Yeah, more's the pity.
Yeah. So it's cool to see a Slan actually be able to cast more spells and give Seraphon players an option of whether or not their Slan's casting or not.
Yeah.
Normally, like at the moment, when you've got no spells to cast, it's like, your War Scroll, Mystic Shield, and Arcane Bolt, your Slan just goes, well, I don't care. 9 summoning points.
Yeah.
It's now actually giving them options, which hopefully are good options that they can then choose to go different ways than the summoning route.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. My daughter plays her Seraphon, and summoning is basically it. There's not the Slan spells without the option of those extra realm spells. It's all right, not bad, but I can lose 3 spells, and then bring in with a Astrolith Bearer and just being the Slan General, within 2 turns, usually I can bring on something quite decent.
Yeah, you bring on a Carnosaur or an Engine of the Gods or something.
That's right. So,
in which turn brings on another 20 skinks.
Yeah. But I mean, even the just bringing on skinks, like I summon 10 skinks, put them in front of that unit that's about to charge you. Well, there you go, kill those skinks.
Yeah, I think those 2 received some good, and the rest, unfortunately, did not receive any updates whatsoever. I think we'll touch a little bit on points for the Free City stuff.
Yeah.
Because we talked about Free Cities last week. There's quite a few like cool narrative. Now the unfortunate part is Free Cities generally play under an allegiance called Mixed Order. And Mixed Order can be a little bit powerful. And so there were some things that went up in cost. And I would say it's almost entirely due to Mixed Order lists taking them.
Yeah. That's why basic skink units for Seraphon went up, I'm sure.
Yeah, and also and then the previous General's Handbook, they got removed from Battle Line.
Yeah.
Because they used to be Battle Line, and that was crazy times for Mixed Order.
Yeah.
But I guess the big ones for Free Cities is Free Guild General went up 20 points, and Dwarf Warriors went up 10 points.
Yeah, that's a bit crap.
I think you can blame both of them on Mixed Order.
Yeah. Yeah, because both basic Dwarf Warriors are not shit hot.
No, they're far from. However, they were cheap Battle Line.
Yes, they were cheap Battle Line.
And so, yeah, that's why they went up. And then the Free Guild General, he was good. Like, to be fair, he was good for 260 points.
Yeah.
And he's still good for 280 points.
Yeah.
But that was because people like sticking the Sword of Japan on him.
Yes.
And making him really killy.
Yeah. And I mean, that in a nutshell is why we don't tend to see realm spells and realm rules at events, because there are competitive events and people don't choose a realm based on their narrative. They choose a realm based on things like, can I get a Sword of Judgment? Can I get
my approach, the Ethereal Amulet?
Yeah.
Ignax's Scales, the list goes on as good ones. Which is fine. Like, if there's an artifact you really want to take because you really think this combo, you can build the narrative. You can really build that narrative. Funnily enough, I was having a conversation with one of Australia's quite competitive players, Joel, the Overlord of Measured Gaming. It was actually interesting. Like, I think he went about it the right way. He was really trying to push the narrative for why his Greywater Fastness army general had an artifact from the realm of death or shadow or something like that. Like gave me a bunch of narrative for it. It was actually quite cool to see like he'd gone through the trouble. And I'm like, that's really cool to see that like arguably one of the really top players in our scene was okay, he was building some janky stuff there, but he was really trying to get his narrative behind the army and explain it as well.
Yeah.
In a valid way. There's other people.
Yeah. This is not a really floppy narrative. Okay, sure it is.
Yeah, it was good to see like that, like really trying to like build the narrative effectively and properly, and showing like a good lot of respect to like all the narrative and stuff like that was really cool. I think more people could do that. It'd be great. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting your army that way. Like, I want my general to.
Well, I like this combination of artifact and general and command trait.
Tell a story around that. That's fine. But again, because 90% of the events, probably 99% of the events in this country are competitive events, there's no encouragement to tell a story. So I think I might have said in the last show, I can't remember facing more than maybe 2 Legions of Nagash that don't have a Vampire Lord with a Ethereal Amulet and a Zombie Dragon. It's just,
Yeah, well, I played 3 at CanCon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I played 4 Legions of Nagash at CanCon. 3 of them were Sacrament. 3 of them had Vampire Lords and Zombie Dragons with Ethereal Amulets.
Yeah. And at some point...
3 of them had Arcan.
Yeah, of course. And it just becomes boring. You set up and you go, okay, where's your Vampire Lord? There he is. You get the amulet? Yeah, okay, yeah, right, fair enough.
And if they have a second one, it's generally Vodrai. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's like there's nothing wrong if you've got this story and all that sort of stuff to back it up. Like, and there's nothing wrong with it in the end. Like, you're at a competitive event. But I always thought, and back on the Measured Game Boys, I think they've done a really cool one way of structuring the realms. It's how I've always thought the realm should have been done as well, was you get the spells and the command train and stuff, and the same way you get the artifact, you pick a realm.
Yeah.
I actually really like it. So you have, say, from the realm of light, you get an Aether Quartz brooch. You get the Always Strikes First command ability. But you also can't take any of the other stuff, but you also get... And then the way they do spells in their tournament packs is you pick it as if it was like a law your army could learn.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's actually really cool. And really, like, while they're doing it for competitive purposes, I really think it actually lends itself really well to narrative purposes as well.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you're getting all this realm of light stuff because you're from the realm of light.
Yeah. Well, and telling the story, part of it is, my army is from here. That's why my spellcaster knows these spells, because he grew up with them.
Yeah, I never got you get the spells because you're in the realm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think from a storytelling perspective, it's more about that whole, the realms are steeped in magic. They are literally magic made into a realm sort of thing. So it just sort of pops into your mind. But yeah, it doesn't sit well with me either. Yeah,
I'm in the realm of fire, so I can all of a sudden cast a fireball spell. It's like, it doesn't lend itself to as cool a narrative as I'm from the realm of fire and I go around casting fireballs.
Yeah, and as long as you can't, pick and choose, so you don't say, I'm going to take my item from here so I can get this item, and my spells from here so I can get that. If you're tied into all of one, that's fine.
Yeah, because you have pros and cons to choosing everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're choosing to go, say, for the banishment spell.
Yeah.
It means you're not getting an ethereal amulet.
Yeah.
I really like that idea and the way they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
competitive events, I mean, I can see a lot of people not being happy with that, but hey, every event's different.
Yeah, I think it's just a really cool way, and I really hope we see more people do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll talk a little bit about like any other sources before we wrap up. Any other sources that you can find for narrative content? There was
Warhammer community.
Yeah, I was just about to hit on that one. The Beast Wars stuff, if you remember that going up.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to actually give some of those games a go.
That's the thing too. A lot of the scenarios in those older products are perfect for the narrative game. Even Firestorm.
Yeah, Firestorm as well. Firestorm's a great one. If you can get a copy of it around, I really recommend going and getting Firestorm.
Pretty sure you can still get it in.
It's fantastic. What was that?
I think you can still get it in. Like they can still get it into a store.
Okay.
Yeah, because someone was Matt from GW. Warhammer. Belcon posted some pictures on Facebook the other day of holding up a box that he'd ordered in for someone.
Oh, okay, sweet. Last time I checked, it was like the out of stock that sometimes means it's going away. But good to hear we can still get it. It's a really fantastic box. The campaign in it is great.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but there's a lot I would take from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, the Beast Warhammer community's got lots of cool stuff. They've got the free city generator, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of like the free city stuff, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to follow and pick the stuff it tells you to pick. You can go, oh, but I like this one better, so I want this.
Yeah, and that's where I started with my free city. I knew.
Yep, the same.
I knew the races I kind of wanted. I wasn't sure about the last couple, so had to play around with it. Voila, Molten Heart is born.
Yeah, that was it. That's the same for me. But yeah, Warhammer community's always got some really cool stuff. Also, just like on building up Freegal stuff, check out the building of Duncan's Salakian Guard.
Yeah.
It shows how you can really do some cool free people stuff. That's fantastic. It's one of the Warhammer TV. They ended up doing that for one of the clips, like the painting tutorials and stuff. He did how to build my free city dudes.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's not fluff per se, but a lot of the articles on basing your army in a realm, how to do a base that comes from the realm of fire, the realm of death, etc. There's been quite a few of those.
They can all really help you get what you need to get. It's like the bases I do for a lot of my armies are all. I painted up my boards like the Sylvaneth Glade scheme they did on like the Realm of Battle tiles.
Yeah.
And I just miniaturized that onto the Realm of Battle bases, and it works perfectly.
Yeah. I just recently bought a static grass applier for a model role place. It's when I do my halfling wanderers. I've got some halfling dwellings that need a bit more work. Just like.
Oh yeah.
Little half and needs more grass and stuff on it, so
very nice. Yeah, I think the last one now. I believe these are out of stock now, unfortunately. But if you can get them in stock or find them, the Realm Gate Wars of the big books are fantastic. Show you what I mean. These ones. These. If you can find them, get them.
Yeah, lots of stuff in there.
They are really good. They've got really interesting scenarios, and you can recreate the entire Realm Gate Wars if you really wanted to. I've got plans to sort of build up the narrative for how my free city was founded with my Stormcast chamber, and play some of my mates' Chaos armies using all the scenarios in those books to build up the narrative behind okay, I know what my free city is now, but how was it founded?
Yeah.
I think it would be a really cool way to do it. But they're probably my last. Oh, not my last shout, but they're definitely one of the last ones. The last shout I would say is check out your local Neo, or find if you have a Neo local to you. You can go on Twitter and search up anyone with a Neo, Neo, at the end of their tag. And there'll be a great place to look to get into narrative gaming. So what Neo stands for is Narrative Event Organizer. So these guys like Steve with Holy Wars, and Mitzi and Jimbo with Realms at War, and bunch of different ones. Myself on Twitter, I've added the Neo to the end of my Twitter handle just so people can find me. And there's a heap of them. You can go post on the forums, you'll find them.
Yeah, because especially in Australia, the narrative events is something that we've been lacking. So we're working on it.
Yeah. We have planned. Nothing to announce yet, but if you're in Australia and you like narrative gaming, definitely keep an eye out. I've already told people we're working on something to make the narrative event next year a lot more accessible to people. I understand Adelaide is a decent travel for a lot of people. I'm glad that some people are coming over, and just a few people, if we can get the event happening, we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Road trip for me.
Yeah. I've got a few locals. It's not going to be anything massive, but you've got to start somewhere with this. And if you're looking to build your own community and narrative, you just got to start somewhere. If it's you and 3 mates playing through Firestorm over a weekend, or playing Path to Glory, that's a start. And you just need to start. Once you guys start having fun doing this, you'll find more people go, this is a different way I play Age of Sigmar. I want to join in.
And at the moment, I mean, we've said it before, the massive events like CanCon, where you have so many hobbyists in the one venue, 200 odd players. There is no reason why an event like that can't support 2 events. We could have a narrative and a competitive. What do you
doubles or singles as well. I really was a big fan of I think it was Adepticon or LVO. No, I think it was Adepticon, where they have the Vanguard on one day, they have the teams on another, and then they have the GT on the other 2 days. And then they had Shadespire, one of them, Warhammer Underworlds on one of the nights.
We can do like that. The more the better.
Yeah. Age of Sigmar is taking over. I think that's a topic, sort of a subject to end on, is the different things that Age of Sigmar can do, and it is a big reason why it's becoming so popular, because there is so many ways to play.
Yeah.
So many different game types. I think with adding Warcry that we're about to get, is going to be huge. I think Warcry is going to take off in a big way. If it's anything like Kill Team, and the people I know play Kill Team, that I knew play Kill Team, that the people I know that play Kill Team, and how highly they've spoken of it, if it's anything as successful as Kill Team, Warcry is going to be fantastic.
Kill Team for me is better than 40k at the moment. So I am looking forward to it, but that's another show.
Yeah. Fortunately, we haven't got any more Warcry news since the reveals at Warhammer Fest. So we are still waiting on 2 warbands. I guess we'll talk a little bit about Warcry for the last little bit. We are still waiting on 2 warbands. We're assuming they're going to be from the realms. We've already got 4 warbands out. We've got the Realm of Metal, the Realm of Shadow, the Realm of Beasts, and the Realm of Life. For the poison. So I assume we're going to get Death and what's the other one I'm missing? So I assume the 2 we're going to miss are going to be Heavens, obviously.
Yeah.
And Light. I assume Light's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just because we know nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll want to reveal anything by releasing a Warcry warband in it.
Yeah, before we see Teclis's boys.
Yeah. But yeah, really looking forward to Warcry, and I really can't wait for that. But with that, I think that's a thing to end on. The show mostly basically about telling you where you can find all that stuff this week. Now we might have an odd time and an odd break period to our next episode because the next one lands. Andrew won't be home back in time from the narrative event.
Yep.
So we might have a 3-week gap here, or might be 2.5. We might do later in the week. We'll figure something out. I'll post up on Facebook and let you know what's happening. But thank you all for joining us tonight. You can find both of us on Twitter. They're both our tags down in the show notes, but Dadhammer Neo for myself, and Andrew, what's yours?
Lord of Tuatha, or El Tuatha.
Yep. And yeah, you can check those down on the show notes and go find us on Twitter and stuff. So thank you all for joining us tonight. The next episode, we're really hoping to sort of delve a bit more into this topic and sort of help you build, I guess, the community and how things you can help build the community with. But until then, enjoy your gaming, and we'll catch you all again real soon. Thank you.